It's Nick Shell. What if this YouTube channel was a real place? By default, I suppose that Fight Club was one of my favorite movies. Came out in 1999, the year I graduated high school. By default, I mean, we've all seen that movie, right? And we know how, especially the beginning of the movie is, where he's going to these support groups at this Methodist church, and he's like addicted to them. So that carry that concept into this YouTube channel that I have, which is largely based on the subject of hair loss, and really in particularly hair loss support group is really what this is. If this were on Fight Club and this was taking place at that Methodist church every other Tuesday night or whatever it is, that's what this would be. So it's imagine this. So over the weekend, very proud and very honored that I now have over 800 subscribers here in December, whereas in January I only had a little over 100. I'm so happy about that. What if this were like a real thing? Like at this point, like I'd have to be in a pretty big room to speak to 800 people for this support group. I mean, let's fathom that. I mean, if you were me in January, you started talking about hair on a regular basis, and you had 100 people in the room, and you're okay, happy about. But now, like, we're pushing 1,000 now that we're 800, and it's interesting because people keep coming back, and then more people keep showing up. So there is kind of a Fight Club kind of situation in here. But could you visualize that though? What if, like, and I'm making 2 or 3 videos a day. What are we hoping to get out of this? Because it's for the psychology that we keep coming back for, and that's what a support group is all about. It's not just about you, but it's about you helping other people, and you all kind of bonding and growing together in that experience, which I've said from the beginning. I mean, even though I've gotten over my hair loss, I keep talking about this because I know it helps other people, and in the process too, I'm sure that in some ways I grow as a person as well by helping people. I've learned a lot from my subscribers, a lot from my commenters in this year 2016. So, but it is interesting though. Just put yourself in a situation where we're all in the same room together, and how that would be. And if you went to that, what would you expect to go back? Why would you keep going back? I think ultimately it's the community of it, because in real life I don't know, are there hair loss support groups? And in my jaded mind, I'd have to believe if that did exist, then they'd just be trying to sell you something. They'd be selling you essential oils or trying to get you to go get hair transplants or something like that. It's funny because, in the real world, what if, like, think about that. What if in the real world, here in Nashville where I live, what if I started a hair loss support group for men or women? I mean, for anyone, let's just say for a hair loss support group. Who would show up? Would anybody show up? Why would they show up? And I guess I would tell them the same thing I say in all my videos, all the stuff I do. But it's just like, just imagine if this were a real place in the real world, and there's now over 800 of us in this group. And it's funny because, like, I gotta admit, as your host, as your guide, as your guru here, it's interesting to me because some of you really want to be here, like, you appreciate it, you tell me that, and like some of you just like kind of just argue with me, I feel, and then others like are along for the ride. Like, it's so funny, like, but you keep coming back and supporting me. So I've said from the very beginning, everyone's welcome here, and that's cool. But this, I don't know that I've really said it out loud, but perhaps this is one of the I don't know, prove me wrong, but at some point maybe this will become the world's largest hair loss support group. I mean, somehow maybe I already have become one in some way, because if nothing else, unlike on Fight Club where those support groups were meeting every other Wednesday or whatever it was, this is like at least a couple times a day. And again, I'm not selling you anything. There's no product that I'm endorsing. So this is just truly just a support group. And I think we need it. I think that's why we keep coming back, because we need this. Because in the real world, there's just nothing else like being told things that you need to know. For example, that confidence outweighs hair loss. Like, most people, think about this, most people in your actual life, they probably don't know that you have any thoughts about hair loss. Even if you are clearly losing your hair, most likely, I don't think most people in your life are aware that you give much thought to it, because it's not something we talk about. And I don't know, it's just, I don't, and then on top of the fact too that we're spending time to keep coming back here, like it shows what we value, because things that you value, you'll spend money on and you'll spend time on. You'll invest those things in that, right? So we're invested in this. Like, imagine if the people in your actual life knew that, for lack of a better term, or maybe for the best term, you're part of a hair loss support group. You are. I mean, what if people knew that about you? Here's what I think. I think if people knew that you were part of this group, they would think, really? Why? Is that really something that matters to you? And then they'd probably tell you all the things they like about you and what actually matters to them about you. I think they'd be surprised. And they think, well, why would you be a part of that? Why would you spend, 10, 20 minutes a day listening to this guy? Why would you do that? They'd probably be surprised, because I think I've said before, we're hardest on ourselves about this. It's easy for us to look in the mirror and look and over evaluate our hairlines and look at the future with maybe some anxiety. It's easy for us to do that and to kind of feed into those negative thoughts. And it's funny because again, most people in your life, especially the people who are close to you, probably have no idea that this is something you spend time thinking about or at all. Even if you're not worried about it or anxious about it, still you're investing time in it. So it's a value to you and you get something out of it. So it's just an interesting and odd concept, because like back in 1999 when Fight Club first came out, like the internet was still fairly new compared to how it is now. Like YouTube was still like nearly a decade out, So those were thoughts I was thinking about. Like, I don't know that I've really officially, oh, that's cold, labeled us as a support group, but we are. I mean, I'm not ashamed of that. But just think though about the concept though. If people knew that you came here and they're like, well, what does the guy talk about? How does he like keep talking about hair loss? Well, there's always something that comes up, and we leave comments and make new videos based off of that. So I want to say thank you, because again, there's over 800 of you here now. I'm very grateful for you. I never expected this would happen, but I'm gonna keep going with it and see where it takes us in 2017. If nothing else, the first half of the year is going to have this whole concept of me trying out the rosemary oil to see if that's a real deal. Because coming from a guy who doesn't sell you anything, what's going to happen? So this is our support group. This is why people come here for the most part, because I look at the analytics. I know that what my search terms are, but I won't give them out because I don't want any imposters to steal my search terms and try to steal my people and then try to make them buy stuff. No, that's not me. I don't make my money that way. I'm Nick Shell, and I will be back.